Hi buddies, I'm Miss Christy and welcome to my kitchen for another yummy story from Bud Warner Memorial Library. Today, in celebration of the Indian festival Holi, we're going to make sugar cookies and read A Festival of Colors by Kabir and Shrestha Segal. Festival of Colors by Kabir and Shrestha Segal. Guavas are ripening, lotuses are blooming, and Holi, the Indian festival of colors, is almost here. Chintu and Mintu are getting ready. Holi hey, they whisper. They gather red hibiscus flowers because hibiscus flowers make red. They gather orchids because orchids make purple. They gather marigolds because marigolds make orange. They gather irises because irises make blue. Then they lay the flowers out to dry, and then they separate each of the petals. And then they press the petals into fine powders. At last, the petal powders are ready. Chintu and Mintu are ready too. And so are their parents. And their friends. Everybody's all dressed in white. And their neighbors. And then, where are they all heading? They look like they're going to have some fun. Poof! Purple pops. Poof! Red bursts. Poof! Orange erupts. Poof! Blue splashes. Poof! 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 Holi hey! Holi hey! Holi hey! Everyone shouts. They're having so much fun, celebrating spring and all the colors. Holi is a festival of fresh starts and friendship and forgiveness. But for Chintu and Mintu, it's also a festival of fun. That looks so fun. A note from the authors. Holi is the Indian festival of colors celebrated during spring when new colors appear in nature. It symbolizes inclusiveness, new beginnings, and the triumph of good over evil. The festival begins with an evening bonfire. The next morning, family, friends, and neighbors throw dry and wet colored powders on each other. People chant Holi hey, which is pronounced Holi hey. And it means, it's Holi. Traditionally, the powders were made at home using flowers. Family and friends gathered, dried, and ground the petals into fine powders, which were mixed with water to make brilliant colors. Now most people buy pre-made powders from their local bazaar or even online. There's plenty of singing, dancing, and feasting during the festivities, and everyone is covered in vibrant colors. There's a tremendous feeling of community. All right, buddies, wasn't that a wonderful story about the Indian festival Holi? So we're going to make my favorite sugar cookie recipe, and it has a package of cream cheese in it to keep the cookies nice and soft and moist, and they stay really delicious and have just a teeny tartness to them, which is kind of nice. So you'll want to have a softened package of cream cheese that you're going to put in your mixing bowl. And then you also need a softened stick of butter that you're going to put into the bottom of your mixing bowl. And you're going to start out by just beating these two together. Once they've kind of mixed together pretty good, you'll add in about 1 1/3 cups of sugar. We're going to add in 1/2 tablespoon of vanilla extract and 1 large egg. And just beat that up a little bit more, mix it real good. Then we're going to add 3 1/2 cups of flour and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 3 1/2 cups of flour. And I'm going to add part of my flour and mix it a little, and then I'll add the rest of it. Or just all of it since I'm filling. Nice and slow so it doesn't go everywhere. And while that mixes, I'm going to get my rolling pin out. A nice firm dough. We're going to take it out of our bowl here and we're going to roll it out so that it's about 1/4 inch thick. And you want to be sure not to roll it too thin. That really helps with making sure that your cookies stay nice and soft and moist. So you're going for somewhere in the area of 1/4 inch to 1/3 inch thick. And I am also rolling it onto parchment paper. This is a very sticky dough when it's not chilled. So now I'm going to cover this with some plastic wrap and then I'm going to put it in the fridge for an hour to chill. And while it chills, I have a fun little song that is very spring inspired to share with you. And then I also have Flower Talk, How Flowers Communicate by Sarah Levine. So our fun little song goes like this. I'm a little daisy, tall and slim. Here are my petals, here is my stem. When the sun comes out and the rain comes down, I grow up, up, up,
from the ground. All right, you guys just want to try it with me? So, I'm a little daisy, tall and thin. Here are my petals, here is my stem. When the sun comes out and the rain comes down, I grow up, up, up from the ground. Yay, that was awesome, wasn't it, buddies?
Flower Talk: How Plants Use Color to Communicate by Sarah Levine. Hey you, psst, down here. That's right. I'm a plant and I'm talking to you. But don't get too used to it. We don't make a habit of talking to humans. I want to clear up some of your crazy ideas about what the colors of our flowers mean. We sit here growing, minding our own business. Will you guys go on about how red roses stand for love and white ones are good for weddings and all kinds of mushy, ridiculous stuff? What a load of fertilizer. We're not using flowers to send information to you, so bud out, okay? We're using our flowers to talk to the animals. Why? We need some help down here. What would you do if your legs were stuck in the ground for your entire life? How would you eat? How would you drink? How would you get your pajamas on? That's kind of silly. Plants don't wear pajamas. We can take care of some things ourselves. We get our food with help from the sun, and when it rains, our roots slurp up water. But we need help making our seeds, our babies. What's more important than that? Without seeds, there'd be no more plants. We'd be finished, kaput. To make a seed, we need pollen from different plants of our same type. How do we get that? We can't just waltz on over there and take some. That's why we need animals, like butterflies and bumblebees and hummingbirds. Here's what we do. We trick them into carrying it for us. We're nice about it, though. We pay them a little something for their efforts. Well, usually. How do we get them to help? We advertise. We hold up big signs. Our flowers are the signs. They say, "Come on over. We have a special treat for you." And believe me, they come. Who wouldn't? Especially if they're hungry. If we're in luck, they bring along some pollen from a flower they visited earlier. Do they know they're doing this? Who knows? And who cares? It works and everyone's happy. So what's the deal with the colors? A flower's color invites specific animals to visit. You seem like a bright kid, so I'm going to let you in on the conversation. Then maybe you could do me a favor and tell the other humans about it, okay? Red flowers are usually talking to birds. The red flower's message is a top secret one for birds only. Most other pollinators are insects, and they can't see the color red. A red flower says, "Hey, hummingbird, over here, carry my pollen and I'll give you a sip of nectar." By the way, red flowers don't have much of an odor. Birds have a horrible sense of smell, so why bother making perfume for them? Blue and purple flowers talk to bees. Bees need flower pollen to feed their babies. They have special pockets on their legs to carry it home to their young. but some pollen always gets stuck on their bodies and passed to the next flowers they visit. Blue and purple flowers are saying, "Yo, bee, can you help me move some of this pollen and take some of it home for your kids?" See, we can be thoughtful too. Yellow flowers are also talking to bees. Bees are our top helpers. I heard that scientists just figured out that bees have 3 favorite colors: blue, purple, and yellow. Took you guys long enough. We've known this for ages. That's why so many of us make flowers in these colors. We like the reliable help. Here's what a yellow flower says. "Bees, bargain basement this way, free food." Some white flowers talk to moths and bats. Moths and bats fly mostly at night. And when it's dark outside, what color shows up best? White, of course. White flowers are like giant signs that say, "Hey, come get your free nectar here." White flowers also put out perfume as an extra guide to help these animals find them. Frankly, I don't care for it myself, but I guess to a moth or a bat, it smells pretty good. Brown flowers often talk to flies. Here's what they're saying. "Get a whiff of our perfumes. It's stinky just the way you like it." This is true. Brown flowers reek like something dead and rotten. And flies need to lay their eggs on dead things, so their maggot babies will have something to eat when they hatch. I know, gross. But a brown flower doesn't help a mama fly at all. She gets drawn in by the stench, but there's no meat there, just a flower tricking a bug into doing work for free. The flower gets pollen, but the fly gets nothing. The only rotten thing around here is the deal. Green flowers aren't talking to anyone. Are they just shy? No, they don't talk to animals because they don't need help. Their pollen is carried by the wind. Plants with green flowers are just green all over because they don't need animals to notice them. Would you bother getting dressed up if you didn't need to? I know I wouldn't. Do animals only go to flowers that are their favorite colors? No, but usually they do. For example, butterflies are drawn more to a flower's shape than its color. Butterflies like a steady platform to land on and tubes filled with nectar to sip with their long, curly tongues. They visit flowers of many colors, but even butterflies have favorites: white, purple, yellow, pink, red, and orange. That's a lot of favorites, though, don't you think? It's been good chatting, but it's time for you to leave now. Go take a hike. I'm pretty busy, in case you haven't noticed. I am making a new flower. It's going to be yellow with a nice, roomy platform. I'm just about done with it. But before you leave, do you want to guess who I'm getting ready to talk to next? Any guesses? Maybe butterflies or bumblebees? Butterflies and bumblebees. How lovely. Wasn't that a cool book with lots of awesome information about flowers, buddies? All right, so once your dough has chilled for an hour, you can take it out and then you'll cut out all of your fun shapes and you'll put them on parchment paper on a baking sheet and bake them in the oven at 375 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. You want to be careful not to overbake them. And then once they're cool, they'll be all ready for decorating. So I have some royal frosting here that I've made up, but you can also use like a white chocolate ganache and that'll work about the same and you'll be able to still play with the colors. So I'm just gonna flood my cookie with royal frosting. And then I'm going to put a drop of liquid food dye on my wet royal frosting on my cookies. And you'll kind of see the color start to split and run if you have runny enough royal frosting. Which kind of looks like little bombs of color for Holi. And I would recommend that adults help younger children with this, otherwise you will end up with a lot of food coloring on there very quickly. And then once you've got some food coloring on top of your royal frosting, you can take a toothpick and you can drag it all around through your colors and mix them. And you'll get all kinds of fun swirls and you can make all kinds of patterns and different shapes will come out and the colors will mix and make different colors. Very yummy way to celebrate spring. And once you're satisfied with how your colors look, then you can just let it sit and harden and the royal frosting will harden in a little bit. The chocolate will also harden and then you'll be ready to enjoy or store your cookies for later. So delicious. Thanks for joining me, buddies. I'll see you at the library.